Give me 9 minutes and I'll show you exactly how to 11x your assets under management or raise capital for your new startup. And this isn't some new email automation or pitch deck formula / template. No, this is strictly just through content. Easy enough, right? Because we all know that raising capital or growing your AUM is brutal. Investors are swamped. Traditional outreach is losing steam. We need a new outlet in which people come to us. Capital comes to us. That's the only way that we can really scale our funds. And so today in this video, I'm going to share with you a simple framework. It's just 5 steps to create content that attracts investors and founders and deal flow basically effortlessly, okay? Once you do this one thing, then everything else becomes systemized. And once again, if you don't know me, you probably shouldn't. I've done a lot of things outside this sector, but now I help fund managers, investors, and founders attract capital and deal flow through content creation. I've had multiple brands. A couple of them are literally my personal brands. So yes, I have done this myself many times, multiple channels, over 100,000 subscribers, and multiple channels that I've built with other people, over 5 million in total subscribers. And so I know exactly how to do this. Now, if you would just like to speed run this entire process and check out my website where you just fill out this easy, quick questionnaire to apply to see if it would be a good fit for us to work together, just check out the link in the description. And we can set these procedures in place for you so that you can grow your personal brand pretty fast. I already have posted just one video on here, one long form video on YouTube, gained 5 subs. Yeah, that doesn't seem like much. However, I've also created short form content, posted on multiple social media platforms, gained more followers that way. And the big kicker here is that we're not aiming to become famous. We're aiming to become an authority in our space and create a strategic online presence so that people come to us for a specific type of service. Now, in this case, it would be raising capital. If you create the right content within your field, investors who typically invest in that field because they may have some knowledge or interest in that niche, or a founder with a new startup, they see your content online. You will be the go-to person for that startup or investor to give money or deal flow. And it's as easy as recording on your MacBook Pro Facecam camera, just like I'm doing right now. But before we get into that, I just want to show you what's possible. So let's check out this case study, Jason M. Lemkin, who only has 7,400 subscribers on YouTube. Now, granted, he has more on Twitter, but we'll get into that a little bit later. And he has attracted $200 million into his SaaS startup fund. And you can see right there, he's already niched down, which is going to be one of our steps that we talk about, where his fund is quite literally called SaaS TR. But what I want to make clear here is that he only has 7,400 subscribers. So again, we're not trying to go viral here and get millions of views. Just with targeted content, he's obviously reached the right people. And if we check out his YouTube channel, you can see, again, he's not getting very many views. He's actually not even posting all too much. I would definitely recommend that he posts more to increase his reach, but with $200 million already in his fund, maybe he doesn't really need any more money to execute what he's trying to do. But all he really talks about is why I'm scared to buy SaaS today. He talks about his learnings from HubSpot, his experience with, right here, Dropbox, how to scale a successful SaaS sales team. And mind you, he's posting on multiple platforms. Twitter, he actually has 200,000 followers. And then he's posting on LinkedIn. He's probably posting on TikTok. And I'm going to show you exactly how you can scale and systemize this entire process. So all you have to do is one thing, and then everything else trickles down, and you can post on all these platforms very easily. And just another word of experience, it may seem daunting to have 200,000 followers and accrue that many people to be following your word. However, when you create a personal brand on a lot of these other platforms, especially YouTube, which I believe is the king of content, many of the time, and this has happened to me, you'll gain a lot of these followers from YouTube, from the long form, and then they'll follow you on other platforms to get the quicker tidbits, especially when it comes to Twitter, because it's one of the only platforms other than LinkedIn, but that has a totally different type of language, let's say. But Twitter is relatively quick and original content, just your thoughts throughout the day. But again, I know how to systemize that as well from your long form transcripts. And then it just takes consistency, right? He's been posting probably for a decade now on many of these platforms, and therefore that's why he has a ton of followers. Looks like even Sam Altman follows him, who, if you didn't know, founded ChatGPT. So he's clearly reaching the right audience of people, right? Showing his expertise in the field, specifically of SaaS startups. And likely people are handing out cash to him in his fund so that he can invest for them, or startups. He's probably the first person that they send their deck to. And so he essentially has priority over like a small space on the internet. But let's dive into the 5-step framework to 11x your capital raising. The first step is nailing your niche. Of course, you probably already know this. How are you gonna sell your services or your startup idea without knowing exactly what audience you're gonna create content for? If you're a SaaS startup like Jason, as we saw on his YouTube channel previously, he's making content about SaaS startups. It's really that easy. And as I got into a little bit earlier, the second step would be creating long form content, because I almost create a funnel of sorts, not a sales funnel, but we begin with long form content on YouTube or a podcast, like 10 to 20, maybe even longer if you want. Deep dives into specific case studies or experiences, stories, expertise that you have. Why exactly are we doing long form, especially when everybody online is telling you how great short form is? Because they get more views and it requires less attention span from the audience. Well, here's why. Long form content is easily clippable. So if you create one piece of long form content, then you can create 3, 5, potentially even 10, depending on how in-depth you go within your video, of short form clips. Let's say you make a 20-minute podcast episode. Potentially you could get up to 20, 60-second clips, right? It's easy math. And that can go on Instagram, that can go on TikTok, that can even go on Twitter and LinkedIn. And as you can see from Jason's own content, he created a video about his 5 interesting learnings from Dropbox. He's telling a story about his experience, and then he created multiple clips from this one long form video. It's actually more than 3. That was just a screenshot that I took from his own YouTube channel. And look, he got 390 views from the long form, and then he got an additional 473, 424, 313. Now, a lot of these people are probably going to be the same, but still, it easily multiplies his reach. And it's all going to be the type of people that he wants to reach, because these algorithms are so good and they'll recommend the content based on the user's own interests and behaviors and match it up with his title, because he's being very specific. He's saying how HubSpot's revenue retention, some lesson in there. And so, yes, it doesn't have a lot of views, but frankly, there aren't a lot of people that are probably interested in that type of content. But if he just gets one founder who wants to replicate HubSpot's success and they reach out to him specifically to pitch their idea, he might have the next unicorn in his fund. And then in addition to the short clips that you can take from the long form, you can then take the transcription from YouTube itself and then ask ChatGPT to break it down into multiple digestible bite-sized pieces to post on Twitter and LinkedIn. So you're not doing any extra thinking here. You're just using your tools at disposal. Now, these tweets specifically aren't related to the video above, but I just wanted to show you the process in which one long form video, you can create potentially up to 25, 30 pieces of content for a week. Now, back to the third step in this framework, which is telling stories. Now, this is something that Jason does really well. If we go over back to the previous example, he's talking about 5 interesting learnings from his experience at Dropbox. Now, I don't know about you, but this probably tells someone that's watching this video that he's an expert, considering he was involved in some early stage of Dropbox before it became successful. And if he wasn't necessarily directly involved in this startup, he still has some sort of expert analysis. And as we all know, stories tend to be easily communicated. Humans are drawn to them. It actually processes better within your brain when it's in a story format. It's been around for millennia. But most of all, it makes him look like an expert and an authority in this space, especially when it comes to SaaS startups, given that he might have had some sort of involvement or expert analysis on Dropbox, which is a large company that pretty much everybody knows, at least within the space. And so we're not trying to sell people at this point. We're just trying to build trust within our niche. We want people to hear our stories, hear our analysis. They may not agree with everything we say, but at least it communicates to people that you know what you're talking about, especially when you start to build a larger following, even up to like 2,000 subscribers or followers on Twitter. Now, the next next step in the framework arguably is one of the most important. And I gave a little bit of a sneak peek in the last video in which we want to optimize the packaging of our content. Because if we just title the same exact video that we were just going over about Dropbox and say, honestly, we can just use his title as an example because I don't think it's relatively optimized whatsoever. In that when he says 5 interesting learnings from Dropbox at 2.5 billion in ARR, a lot of people, even in the space, are going to be confused as to what he's even talking about. Because if you break down 5 interesting learnings, you still don't know what subject matter we're talking about. If he were to say 5 interesting learnings from building Dropbox as a startup, it would be way more interesting for his type of audience. Startup founders who are trying to build within the SaaS niche. But as we did in the last video, let's dive a little bit deeper on how you should title your videos to get views from the right people. If we head back over to YouTube, you're gonna wanna download vidIQ as a Chrome extension in which it will give you the outlier videos that did substantially better in views and reach than the rest of videos on your channel. Now, this might not be the best title, but it still drives home the point. We can copy the formula from this exact video packaging, aka the title and the thumbnail. So I don't think the SMMA 9.0 is really all too necessary, but launch a 10K per month niche agency with Tai Lopez's proven system could be something that we could flip into our niche just by changing a couple of the words, such as launch a $1 billion valuation unicorn with Sam Altman's proven system. Now, we don't necessarily have to have Sam Altman interviewed in this video, probably like this thumbnail shows, but we can still create a thumbnail with Sam Altman on the thumbnail along with some other things behind him, similar to this concept. And so what I'll do is every single morning, I'll go through my home feed on YouTube and just click these 3 dots and save to my playlist of video ideas. And as you can see, I have a bunch of video packaging concepts that I can steal from or emulate, but just in my niche. And so, for example, the video I'm making right now, I stole from a couple sources, meaning that it probably is going to perform well. Right here, this give me 39 minutes and I'll make you dangerously confident. In addition to Mr. Welsh's video saying, give me 9 minutes and I'll 11x your YouTube views. Now he's teaching something completely different, but I just changed my concept and the content within the video. And so just for example, if we wanted to repackage this video by Jason Lemkin, I would go through my video ideas, and I'm just doing this on the fly here, but let's say that we stole the TikTok strategy that's printing millions right now. Maybe we do the Dropbox startup strategy that printed billions. It's really that easy. And we can steal the thumbnail format, put the Dropbox logo on the right, or even the founder of Dropbox to the right with a Dropbox logo or app icon to the side or right behind him, and then put in words, SaaS's #1 fastest growing brand. It's so stupid and simple that it actually works. I promise you. And then of course, the last step in our 5-step framework is your call to action. Let people know exactly what you do, where they can buy from you. People want to buy things from people they trust. They don't want to go to some random Google search and click on a link and send people money. They want to work with their friends or trusted advisors that they know will get the job done. And after watching potentially 5 to 10 of your videos where your thoughts align with them, they'll start to build a relationship with you. Maybe it's only one way, but still it increases the chances of them working with you over other people substantially. So don't be afraid to be salesy at the end or within your video, not too salesy. You of course want to show value for free to showcase your expertise and authority within your niche, but they're probably watching this type of content that you're making to buy or interact and connect with people just like you. So it's essentially a win-win for everybody. And with that being said, stop chasing investors, let them come to you by building trust through creating content online. Build your strategic online presence, systemize the outreach methods just by posting on all platforms with my methods. And of course, if you want me to help you do that, check in the link in description for my website to apply to see if we'd be a good fit. Yes, it takes time and it is daunting to see that we have to create all these sorts of videos, clips, tweets, long form YouTube videos? What do I make it about? And so even if you know what you're doing, you might not have the time to do that. But for everybody else out there that's just starting up or doesn't have the capital necessarily to invest in their brand in that sort of way, just follow these steps and you'll have investors knocking within a matter of months. All it takes is that one viewer that has a lot of capital to allocate to give to you to change your life, or a startup founder to give you the pitch of your life. And by creating content online and then breaking it down into short form content and text, you exponentially increase the chances of getting that one viewer or more. Subscribe for more content, fill out the questionnaire if you want to work with me. I'll see you next time.